This is the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where it's all about getting the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Brought to you by Itamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com. Now, here's your host, Kevin Pruitt.
Welcome to the Marketing Umbrella Podcast. My name is Kevin Pruitt. I'm the host, where we talk with successful marketing experts about ways to grow and scale a marketing agency. Our guest today is the founder and CEO of Pavilion, the premier community and career development platform for high-growth leaders and their teams in every function. He launched Pavilion as Revenue Collective in 2016 and bootstrapped the company to $10 million in ARR before taking on a $25 million growth financing round in early 2021, led by Elephant Ventures and GTM Fund. Prior to Pavilion, he spent 15 years as a senior revenue leader at VC-backed companies in the New York area, including Gerson Lehrman Group, Axial, Livestream, Vimeo, the Muse, and Behavox. He lives in the West Village of Manhattan, and I am jealous as I can be, with his wife and two dogs. Walty and Williams, join me in welcoming a great guest to the podcast, Sam Jacobs.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm happy to be here. And I don't know if you'd be that jealous if you heard the sirens and the breaking bottles as often as I hear them, but I appreciate it.
It may be a completely different story than the movies depict, I'm sure. So
depends which movie. Escape from New York is probably pretty accurate right now.
Exactly, that's right. Well, brother, what's missing of what I read? So kind of round us out a little bit, and I know that it's hard to cram your entire life into a couple of short paragraphs, but I know it's a broad story back there.
Well, I don't know that too much is missing. I mean, I think I wrote a book. So that's important. The book I wrote is called Kind Folks Finish First, The Considerate Path to Success in Business and Life. And it's really about building the company that you just described in the bio. Pavilion used to be called Revenue Collective. That's one thing that's missing. That's kind of it. You know, I like to run. I have an unhealthy relationship with online chess. Those are some personal fun facts about me.
Well, you could put in there like I'm online poker or something. Might be different than online chess. Everybody
that hears it thinks, oh, chess isn't so bad. I said, you don't understand my relationship with it. It's not. I'm not sitting there reading books and plotting out 12 moves in advance. It's very like dopamine focused. So.
Well, I know there's something really interesting, and that you're one of the few guests that would come on and actually have this like in a maybe a distant bio. But there's if we back up a little bit, there's some interesting job changes and job shifts in your past. So walk us through that really quickly, because I think that lays such a groundwork for where you are today.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this company that I run, Pavilion, the purpose of it, we say, is to unlock and achieve your professional potential by being a member. And what that really means is help you have a career that at the end of which has the things that we all want from our careers, which is wealth and impact and relationships and a feeling of significance and contribution to the world. And I say that when you ask me the question about my background, because those were things that were missing from my life. And it was the reason that I created the company in the first place, which is that my background is I ran a record label 20 years ago that was very unsuccessful. And then I came back to New York 20 years ago. And for the second time, first time I was in investment banking. This time I worked in startups, and I've been working in startups for 20 years. And over the course of those 20 years, I kept getting more and more senior. And as I get more senior, I would get fired more often. And so contrary to my expectation, which is that as you become more senior, things get easier, what it seemed to be was that things were really easy when I was an individual contributor and when I was early in my career. But as I became more senior, things just got really volatile and really uneven. And I worked at one rocket ship for 7.5 years, this place called GLG. And it went from about 25 million to 300 million in revenue while I was there. And that was a great experience. And then I left, and that was when life really got real. I was going through a divorce. It was 2010. I was working at a very early stage company that was effectively pre-product market fit. And I worked there for 4.5 years, helped the company grow, but it was very, very difficult. I got fired from that job due to differences with the CEO. Really, I tried to get the CEO fired by going behind his back to the board. That ended up not working out, as it shouldn't have. It's sort of on me to figure that stuff out. And then I went to work in another company for 18 months, didn't get fired, but that company was having financial difficulties. And so I left. Then I worked another place for 9 months, did get fired from that place. And these were in sales leadership roles. So, chief revenue officer, SVP of sales and business development, but basically leading the go-to-market function for these organizations. And then finally, I was the CRO of this other company in 2018. And again, that didn't work out either. And so that's really, while my day job was becoming less safe, less secure, more volatile, I created this community of fellow go-to-market leaders and operators to support each other, to assist each other, and to help each other find the next job, negotiate better, have the skills, techniques, tools, tactics, disciplines to be effective in the role, and to provide that security blanket, that insurance policy, the ability to sleep well at night, knowing that when you went to bed, you had a group of people behind you that were going to help you out. And that's what Pavilion is fundamentally all about. Fundamentally, it is about a global group. Today it's 10,000. Tomorrow, who knows how big it'll be or how small, but however big or however small we are, the purpose of it is to help each other be better at our jobs, contribute to the growth of our companies, negotiate more effectively, sleep better at night, be a better partner to your spouse, all of the things, that go into leading a fulfilling and enriching professional career.
So, I mean, it sounds very holistic, very 360-degree kind of, we're looking at all areas, all phases of life. And it's, when you put a community together of 10,000 people, there's going to be 11,000 opinions, of what that looks like. So
you are
I have
so
a feeling
right.
It's like herding cats, they use that old adage, but what's it been like? What's the experience been like trying to lead that community?
It was really easy. And then it got really hard. And, when you're small, it's easy because you just do the next right thing. And it's pretty straightforward. What happens is, as all of these different things that you do develop their own inertia and momentum, particularly where you charge money, they develop strategic gravity. And pretty soon you get to a size, and that's where we're at right now, where you can't do everything. And so and you're exactly right, Kevin. There are 11,000 opinions from 10,000 people. And so what you have to do is you just have to get really, really focused, like everybody, any good business. And we are not a great business. We are an okay business. And I aspire to be a great business, over the course of the next couple of years as I get better as a CEO. But focus is really important. Who are you for? Who's the ICP? And so we decided, even you just read a somewhat old bio because it said for all functions. And we've actually decided we can't be for all functions. We really need to focus. So we're really just for revenue leadership, sales and marketing and customer success, and also CEOs, but the revenue side of companies, the go-to-market function. That's who we're for. We're for B2B SaaS companies primarily, not exclusively, but primarily. We're primarily for venture capital-backed companies. We're primarily for companies between 0 to 100 million in revenue. So that's part of the question that we had to answer. If you said, well, I'm SVP of sales for a oil rig construction platform, is Pavilion for me? I would say it could be if you want to understand the strategies, tactics, and techniques that B2B SaaS companies are going through. But if that's not of interest at all, then it's probably not a good fit for you, as much as it pains me to not take somebody's money. So part of focus is who are you for? And then part of it is, okay, exactly to your point. Well, what is community? Well, it could be a million different things.
Right.
We're going to need to define it into specific products so that people can opt in or out based on whether they think those products are useful to them. So one of the most important products is Pavilion University. That's our learning programs. We run CRO school, CMO school. Last year, 12,000 total enrollments, 6,000 unique students against the community of 10,000. So right there, you can say, okay, about 60% of the community took a class, but 40% didn't. Right. So 40% didn't think that was the right product for them to renew their membership. What are the two other products?
Or timing, or, life stage. Could have been
exactly.
anything.
Exactly. So the two other products that we think are important, and this is where we're coming out, for 2023 and beyond, is community itself, which means small group forums about, from on the low end, maybe 50 people, on the high end, maybe 150 people, but not much more than that. That can regularly meet in person and talk about common challenges, and then can carry that conversation online. when they need to and when it's appropriate. And then lastly, insights, right? We have the ability to survey our membership and provide them back the answers to difficult questions. How many people are on track for quota? How many people lowered or raised their revenue target? How many people? And so those three products form the essence of what we sell to people as community. And they can decide based on that if that's of interest to them or not. If they said, well, I really need a coach, we can say, well, we don't do coaching, but what we do is we can connect you to somebody that can serve as a coach, but we don't sell a coaching practice. Yeah. If you want a coaching practice, better to go to BetterUp or something like that. So at any rate, you asked a question a while ago, what's it like? It's hard because you got to figure out, what do we stand for? Who are we? What are the products we want to stand behind? And you got to understand that some part of those 10,000 people might decide that they didn't sign up for those things. Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
Yeah. You said something really interesting earlier about a prior role that you were in, where you were saying, we're trying to determine product market fit, or I think the term you used was pre-product market fit. So
right.
That's a little bit of a strange term for a lay mind like my own that says, you're an existing concern and you're trying to determine that. It's almost like, getting the cart before the horse type thing. So,
yeah,
but I understand that, businesses that are actually in process, they need to adapt and they need to evolve and they need to change and they need to start new things and create new things. But in the community itself, it seems like to me, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it almost seems like the community might define that for you itself through surveys, through trial and error, through A/B testing, through whatever you want to do within the community. That what are they asking for? That you're not completely starting with a clean whiteboard, obviously, but you can, I would think that the community, like 40% of our people are asking for this feature or this, whatever it is, and then you have to determine, I guess, as the leadership group that says, is this a good fit for the community as a whole type thing? Is that kind of the process of adaptation that you go through? Or
yeah, one of our core, we've got a couple key values. Members first is our most important one, but mm-hmm. the second, which everybody has, right? But some version of our customers,
the top, and hard to do sometimes.
That's right. Exactly correct. And the second big value is listen closely, act quickly, which just means, we got to our members will tell us what they want. We got to listen to them. Now, the point of it is listen closely, because it doesn't mean do whatever the last person you talk to says. Yep. It means try to synthesize the essence of the feedback and then deliver against it. And so again, right now we're in that process. We feel pretty good about our learning offerings. We feel pretty good about our insights. But what we feel is that we've made some changes over the past year where the community itself is not feeling quite as connected to each other. And so that's what our strategic focus is right now. How do we bring that back? So that's exactly to your point. They will tell you, you got to listen and then you got to respond. Mm-hmm. And they'll give you some goodwill if they see that you're taking action, even if the action isn't perfect.
Right.
The thing that won't work is if it seems completely tone deaf.
Mm-hmm. Like this is what we're doing. You can all the feedback can say something else, but we're gonna do B.
Yeah, take it or leave it, and you're not going to hear from us again, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and please keep paying the monthly subscription to
exactly.
It's interesting that so many things are kind of created out of the entrepreneur's own itch. This seems like you created a global community out of an issue that you had personally, that you had seen over.
Yeah,
and over
very
again
much so.
As you went from position to position. So did you notice that this was a common problem, or truly were you saying, this is what I need?
It was much closer to this is what I need. There was a moment, I never gave myself permission. This whole thing has been a series of gates that unlock in terms of in my mind. So the first thing was like, I don't feel safe in my job.
Yeah.
So I want a group of people, because also I just want to feel like I'm not alone, like I can go through this with somebody. So we started meeting up for dinners once a quarter, and then had an email distribution list that was related to it. Not rocket science, not a business. It was free. I just said, but this is a thing where I'm sure it'll redound to my benefit in some way if I put myself at the center of this community. Plus, it's in New York. I'm in New York. New York's a big place. If I can be the go-to person in New York, that's a pretty good thing to do. Then January 1st, 2018, well, really, 2017, I got fired for the second to last time. And I said, all right, I need to have side income. I still wasn't like, I need to work on this full time. It was more, I just need to diversify a little bit because I cannot put my future and my life in the hands of a 32-year-old first-time CEO.
Yeah.
Or if I'm going to do that, I need an insurance policy.
Yep.
So that's when I sold a sponsorship for the first time. That's when I began consulting on the side. And that's when I charged dues for the first time. And even then it was nice side income. Then I went to work for someplace in 2018. I negotiated a really lucrative package thanks to strategies and tactics I learned from Pavilion. And by the end, December 2018, when I was fired from that job, then it was, okay, looks like I'm just not very good at working for other people. I think we've tried this experiment. It is time for me to try working on this myself. And I will use the fact that it's an LLC. At the time, we're a C Corp now. I will use the fact that it's an LLC and there's beneficial tax laws for small business owners. And if this can just support me, and if I can pay my rent and support my family without, and it's a job I can't be fired from since I'm the boss, that's all I need. That's all I need. And again, no expectation this would be venture scale. I'd given up on that idea that I was going to be one of those people that built a $100 million plus business. It was just, this is at least it's my thing. It's my little corner of the world and it's mine and you can't take it from me. And then it continued to grow and grow and grow and grow. People started reaching out to me from all over the world, people that wanted to support what we were doing. And COVID came along and I'd been working on it full time and I was really excited and having the time of my life. And then we had to pivot, and we had been in dinner business. We'd been effectively a dinner business before COVID, and we became a digital business. Digital business was much more profitable than a dinner business.
Scalable.
Yeah. And we grew 4x during COVID. Yep. And that's when, and so then finally in February, just about 2 years ago, it was 2 years ago that I got an email from this guy, Peter Fallon at Elephant Ventures, that said, hey, we'd like to take a look at your business. I said, sure. And then they offered me $25 million and an $80 million pre-money valuation. Now, remember, this was 0% interest rates. This was the inflationary environment that we are pulling ourselves out of.
Money, a lot of
exactly.
Cash.
I'm not going to say I'm the world's greatest genius. I was lucky, but lucky is when opportunity meets preparation. And I had built a good business. Probably wasn't quite as good as what they paid for it, but it was still a good business. And now it's worth, and we've grown 4x since they invested from a revenue perspective. So, so my point is that this wasn't some grand plan. This wasn't some diabolical plan. I don't think I'm some egomaniac that's like, I need to control the world by the time I'm XYZ age. It's much more of, I just wanted a job that I believed in, that served my values, that I had stability and security around, and I wanted my own thing. And that's why, even though we're going through this whole process, like I said, you asked those questions about community and how's it going, and it's been really hard, and we're not perfect. We're still growing. We still got a lot of thousands of happy members, but we've got lots of people that are saying, you're not doing this right. You're not doing that right. And even in the face of all of that, I still feel like I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world, because it still has the essence of what I was looking for, which is, it's my business that I get to build with a great team. We serve thousands of people and help make their lives better. And we're going to figure out how to serve even more people over time.
So you strike me as the perfect intersection of unemployable and empathetic. So you said, it took me 5 times to figure out that I didn't want to work. I couldn't work for somebody else, but yet going through those experiences has to have shaped you into at least an understanding. Maybe it's not as empathetic, but I would guess it would be an empathetic understanding of other people that are going through similar things or subjected to similar possibilities, or potentially, going through those things. But you also have the ability to lead an organization instead of trying to be like entrepreneurial and do it from within a larger, umbrella. So I think that I mean, man, you talk about landing in the intersection of where you're supposed to be, like right in the middle of your ikigai, diagram. You're like standing in the middle of the 4-leaf clover here. So do you,
I mean,
do
this
you
is
sense that
definitely,
when you get up?
yeah. I mean, that's why I said, listen, it's the problem with human nature, right, is that every gate that you pass through, it doesn't satisfy you, right? You want to get to the next gate. I got the business this big. I don't want to be the guy that just got it to this big and never got it to the next thing. And so I don't spend a lot of time patting myself on the back because I can see all the warts, all the problems, all the mistakes I've made, and I've made a lot of mistakes. And so, but then every once in a while, I pour cold water over my head. I'm like, dude, like, would you take a second? Because if I could go back in time to myself 5 years ago and say, let me paint a picture of your life, just so as you're going through this difficulty, as you walk into the office. I just remember certain companies where the vibe, the energy just shifted almost like perceptibly within a day, the minute that like it became clear we were not going to hit the forecast. And I could go to that person and say, this is what your life is like. Let me walk you through it. I would be like, wow, that sounds, obviously you're skipping around every day, like on cloud 9. You must be the happiest person alive. And my answer would be, I try to be, I try to be happy, and I am happy, but yeah, I have to remind myself, because it's a really unique position. This is the perfect job for me. And yet it could be so much better. And I want to make it better. I want people to think this thing really works. It does what it says.
Yeah. And I think there's obviously a gear within you that is kind of a DNA, that you're part of your DNA that says, I'm going to keep driving in this until it does, till we get there, and not be satisfied until you get there. But what is the interface or the intersection or the integration, I guess, with companies versus individuals? Are you working with companies that say, as you hire, people in these positions, whether it's CEO or whether it's CRO or, VP of marketing, whatever, they're a good fit for this community? Are you having those conversations, or is it pretty much driven by just individuals coming to the community?
It's driven by individuals coming, but and we have relationships with companies directly, both as sponsors that, sales and marketing technology companies that want to sell their stuff to our world. And there's a way to do that makes it valuable to the members, because you still need to know about who the up and coming technologies are and how to use them. And so, and then we have a B2B sales motion where we sell to companies and they purchase on behalf of their employees. But I think the heartbeat, that's part of the challenge. Part of the strategic challenges we faced is trying to serve the individual and the company.
Yeah.
When you're serving the individual, you can talk to them about executive comp and negotiation and getting a promotion. It's a little bit more awkward if you're trying to sell to the company themselves and they feel like you're double dealing. So
you told him what?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you posted? Why is there a job board? I just signed up all my young people and now they're all applying to jobs somebody else. I think where the dust will settle, as we've wrestled with this strategically, is I think the dust will settle on us being primarily for the individual. I think that's where we're going to ultimately end up, because it's becoming complicated to have more than one boss in this situation.
Yeah, I'm sure that is the case. I mean, you kind of described your ideal client profile earlier about who that ideal customer profile, who that person was or who that company was. But I would imagine that there's value in people that might fall out of that, outside of that band as well, that may just run an agency, run a marketing agency, or run a company themselves and want to be part of this community.
Yeah, of course.
Just see value in it. Where do you see them plugging into this?
Them being,
let's say I own a marketing agency's, $5 million a year revenue or something like that. I mean, I don't want to say you're just replacing EO or something like that, but I mean, what is
no, I mean, that's the EO and YPO and Vistage are the right metaphors. I would say that we're a digital first version of those legacy but valuable organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say if you run a $5 million marketing agency, you are a perfect candidate because you got to know modern marketing practices and strategies. And we have close relationships with, you know, Salesforce and HubSpot and all of the big companies that you're either reselling or implementing oftentimes on behalf of your clients. And this is a way for you. But again, the emphasis is it's not really about running a better non-technology business. It's about you understanding that the content that we create, the ideas that we espouse are going to be about building ongoing recurring revenue businesses powered by technology, but that they are going to be the companies using the most modern practices. And if you want to be a great marketing agency, you probably need to know those people and have a connection and a network with those people so that you can do the best possible job for your clients.
Yeah, for sure. And by utilizing those technologies, you are, you know, increasing your own footprint, you know, in the, as
of
the
course, and you're
itself,
possibly finding new clients. And in this way, you know, it's not I'm not the biggest fan of like BNI, but you know, because it's so
that
transactional.
Came to my mind immediately when you said that. I thought this is Business Network International.
The problem with, I mean, I've been to a few BNI meetings and it was just so
salesy.
There wasn't content there. There wasn't like, let's connect around something other than just giving each other leads. And then, because for me, this is the modern form of marketing anyway, right? Which is, hey, let's help people. I mean, that's what the book is about that I wrote, that the whole thing is helping other people is the best form of marketing. That's like the essence of my whole career, right? The whole reason I started this thing is because I was helping people find jobs and I got a thrill from it. I was helping people get connections to resources that they needed. And that was the best possible marketing for me. And then when I started a business around it, people find you because you're adding value to their lives and they want to give you money. They want to find a way to do business with you.
Well, you know, character comes into play so much. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there, but when you intuitively trust, you know, the person that you're working with, I think, you know, that old adage, know, like, and trust, you know, those are the people you want to work with. But it's interesting. You kind of focused on the marketing side of things just a second ago. And I'm curious, what would you say is the biggest problem in the marketing space today? What is the biggest, and I'm not talking about obstacle, I'm talking about problem with the way it's done, or the thing that is dragging the reputation of marketing down in the toilet. You know, what is it? What do you think is the biggest issue that marketers are maybe doing that they should stop? You know, I don't want to lead you anymore. It's a very open-ended question.
It is. Well, there's a bunch of things that they're doing that they should stop. We all need to spend more time with our customers and speak in plain English to our customers. I guess that's one of that for me, if I had to like say one thing that marketers are doing wrong, right? There's a lot of forces in the world that make marketing difficult, including all of our collective attention deficits. Yeah. It's just getting really hard to get somebody's attention and to keep it. But I think the main thing I would say is like, you need to talk like a human being. You need to be authentic. And that means you can't go to your website and not understand after reading the full landing page what you do, who you are. You know, everything can't be, I mean, frankly, maybe we need to take our own medicine, but it's like it can't all be so aspirational and such gobbledygook that you're like, is this a consulting company? What do they do? You know? Like, what is it? What is the product that is being sold to me? So I can evaluate for myself whether or not I'm a good fit. That I think is something that marketers just need to get better about, at trusting that they can be authentic. And also to relatedly, you know, I've read this book. My friend wrote, Todd Capone. He wrote this book, The Transparency Sale. I just read The Jolt Effect by Matt Dixon, talking about how candor and honesty can increase sales and reduce sales cycle length. I just think it's okay to admit, what are you good at? What are you not good at? And just be very transparent and upfront about that.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem. And then I think a related challenge, but it's not, marketers aren't doing it wrong, it's just very difficult, is one of attribution. Is what's the right way to think about how much credit we should place on different activities that contributed to a customer being a customer or staying a customer? And that's just a really, really hard, thorny problem because because how does one make a decision? You know, how do you choose where you're going to eat breakfast? How do you choose? It's hard. There's not one thing. It's a lot of different things.
And I mean, we actually think though that, but with the metrics, with our real-time data we have available, that we're getting closer to being able to attribute cause and effect. But I think you're exactly right. There is so many things that are like not measurable, you know, that
Yeah,
are
and
just
especially
kind
like
of
last touch
serendipitous.
attribution. Like, well, the thing, you know, they responded to an email from a sales development rep. Well, that's true. But they also saw your ad in a few places, and they just had a conversation with another customer that went really well. And they walked by your band, you know, your thing was on the top of a cab, and they'd walk by it 50 times. And this was finally the time that they decided to respond to that person's email who had been emailing them for 2 years. And now it looks like the SDR, the sales development rep, is the reason that they converted, when it was really the preponderance of all of your omni-channel activities that drove that conversion. I think that's,
or the time I dropped my coffee on the sidewalk and looked up and saw the cab.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know what's going to happen. But well, my friend, as we shift to the kind of the final segment of our interview, I wanted to honor your time today for sure, and I really appreciate you taking time. But
well, thanks for having me.
The whole idea of kind of getting inside your head a little bit, and you're going to think these are kind of weird, disparate questions, but
bring it. I'm already intrigued.
They certainly kind of lay a groundwork of you know, kind of developing a full picture. But so just really, these are rapid questions, just rapid answers. First thing, don't think about them, just answer them. Did you get along with your parents growing up?
Yes.
Do you have siblings?
I am the youngest of 3.
Do you have I think I mentioned in the intro, you do have pets?
The 2 pets, I have one of the 2 pets that you mentioned in the intro. Walter passed away, but I've got 3 dogs. Yeah. We rescue elderly dogs in my family.
Okay. That may be indicative of how you are as a CEO too.
I think you're right.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
About 7.
And go to bed?
11.
What is your ideal vacation, unplugging from what you do?
Right now, because I've been watching the weather, my ideal vacation would be going to somewhere in Colorado and snowboarding for a very long time and not talking to anybody. I would say that in general, I like that and the beach, but if I had to pick, I think the mountains are where my heart is right at this very moment.
You know, I'm gonna do a study over time that I'm going to ask the question, mountain or beach. That's the question I'm going to ask.
That's a good question.
It's going to be indicative of who
it's
you
very
are
polarizing
as an entrepreneur. For
yeah.
Sure. So, tell me how faith affects how you live.
That's a good question. My moral code affects how I live every day. That is inspired and informed by the Judeo-Christian moral code of the 10 Commandments and really the golden rule, which comes from, I'm Jewish, but it comes from Christ more than anything, which is do unto others as you would have them do to you. I mean, I'm spiritual more than religious, but I certainly believe that goodness is a thing in the universe. And I believe that something bigger than us is happening that we don't understand. And I believe that we should treat other people the way we want to be treated and treat animals the way we want to be treated and try to think about other people as coexisting in our universe versus just being characters in our video game.
And what a way to wrap us up today. Tell me one thing you would change about the business climate today if you could. You're going to say, refer back to my previous answer.
Well, if Jerome Powell just lowered interest rates back to 0 again, we could all be. What was so bad about inflation?
I love it. Well, man, is there one thing that we just haven't touched on that you just kind of, it's just been kind of burning in your mind as we've been talking? Just one way to close this out with a interesting, thing that's on your mind that you'd like to share as we wrap up.
You don't have to buy my book, but the book is about basically what we were just talking about. And I think the idea that I articulated in this way, just with you, Kevin, is, doing good can be the best form of marketing. I really believe that. And the book is about this idea that you don't have to be so transactional all the time. You don't have to perfect every negotiation. what you have to do, and what I think you should do, is try to just put as many deposits into the bank of karma as you can, and try to help as many people as you can without asking for that much in return or anything in return. And then just play a long game, and watch it play out over 10, 15, 20 years, as opposed to needing something tomorrow. And if you can orient yourself in that way, when I did that, that's when my career changed.
What a great way to wrap us up, Sam. I really appreciate you taking time, and just thank you again for coming on the show and sharing your expertise and insights. And to learn more, I want you all to look at joinpavilion.com, Pavilion with one L, .com. You can connect with Sam on LinkedIn or through their website. But once again, just thank you all for joining us on another episode of the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where we chat with marketing experts, providing insights to help agency owners scale and grow their business. Please connect with our founder of Umbrella, Itamar Shafir, at umbrellaus.com. Sam, thanks again. Have a great weekend, friend.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where we provide the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. To learn more, go to umbrellaus.com.